In Land Art 1, which was titled Singles, I mentioned that I believe that you could use more than one stone and somehow they can unite together to make a singular object. Now, I do believe that, and I also believe that that gives the viewer chance to identify not only human forms, other forms as well, but also expressions and characters. With care, you can actually extend that so that you end up with two singular forms, making relationships, couples. And yet, I also like the way that if you use the same stones in a different way, the effect that you get is very different indeed, and that completely alters it. Even with many stones, the form can still be simple yet strong, holding a defiance to its surroundings, or enhancing a found line, or even complementing a natural form that is either there within the rock or over the rock. This gives a sense of discovery. It's not only the stone that's being found or the objects that's being found, but it's enhancing and creating a relationship with the surroundings of those stones in a very direct way. Not just the landscape of the stones, but other things that are around them as well, that can enhance, that can contain, that can make new what wasn't there before. Now, it's very rare that I'll actually work a stone or change the actual shape of the stone, but cracking a stone can make a big difference. It gives it its own new history. But I also like to find the things that are in the stone, the lines, the forms, and of course it doesn't have to be just stone. It can be leaves, it can be sticks, it can be all manner of things that are just naturally found and related to. Sometimes my favourite works aren't the big stones or the dramatic balances, but they're small and simple, yet somehow they feel to be just right, like small pieces of charcoal pressed into a tree trunk, or small pebbles just formed in a certain way. Now, some of these seem to imitate nature, but there are times when I like to put up a stark opposition to it, like many human influences are, to make that unnatural shape and see how stark it is against the beauty of nature itself. And it's not just the choice of material, its location or placement, but how it's offered up to the viewer. From one angle, what may appear to suggest perched seabirds, from a different angle, can become the jaw of a large creature. But it's important, however, for me to emphasize that whilst I like the idea that these things can be found in the work, that you can see these human forms or bird forms or the jaw of a large creature type forms, what I'd like about that is the fact that you can find them in there. But what I'm really interested in is how these objects that are just lying on the floor can suddenly take on new relationships. It's their forms, the colours, the dynamics, the way that the stones relate to each other, how that relates to the environment. And even though they may have that appearance of queuing up or being like soldiers on parade or whatever, those are things that are found in them. They're not things that I'm there trying to create. They are a discovery. At no point do I think I'm going to make a person, for example, out of stone. But what I am doing is I'm finding ways of making those stones relate, whether they makes it look like they're on guard or whether it makes it look like they've been sheltering, huddling together in opposition to each other, perhaps. It's the way that they find shelter, or stand guard, the way that they find symmetry, the way that they find harmonious partnerships, or even, at times, an uneasy awkwardness. It's what's within the stone